Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me today. I have a very special lady that I would like to introduce. She has been so gracious to share her experience in working with me and joining the Words Left Unspoken Healing Your Heart program. I can't wait for her to share her experience with all of us. Again, my name is Shawn Thompson. I am a spiritual counselor and psychic medium, owner of Inner Healing for over 20 plus years. And thank you again for joining us. So I'd like to introduce Jen. How are you today, Jen?
Good. How are you, Shawn?
I'm doing good. I really appreciate you kind of putting yourself out there in order to share your experience with others who have had loss in their life and who have struggled through the grieving process, thinking that they would never feel whole again, that they just want to breathe again and take their life back without seeming that like they have to forget their loved ones if they choose to move on. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. So first, I would like to ask you, would you please share with the audience what it was like, what you went through to lose two major people? You lost your father and you lost your mentor within a very short amount of time. And these were two powerful men that were in
Mhm.
your life that you really looked to guidance for, and you had a really great relationship on every level. Please share with us what that was like to lose those two important people in your life.
Sure. Sure. So I lost my father several years ago to brain cancer, and it was fast. He was diagnosed in September, and then I lost him on Father's Day.
Oh,
So 8.5 months. It was very, very fast. And he was a doctor. So,
wow.
seeing that magic and that extremely intelligent human being literally turn into a child and not be able to process, basic things, sitting down, how to eat. It took away his dignity. And
Mhm.
so it was that process was very tough, but I was his healthcare power of attorney. So a lot of people will deal with that process as they're going through it with the person, but I couldn't. So I had to put all my feelings and
Excuse me.
everything, kind of bury them, so that, I took care of him the best way I could without the emotional part. And so, all of that bottled up inside of me, um, was rough. And throughout the years, I tried various things. I am very spiritual.
Mhm.
Um, and so, do I believe I'm gonna see him again? I absolutely do. But
Mhm.
again, it's there's so many things that go into that, and it was starting to take over my life, to the point where then I just started ignoring that he was gone, because that's how I could get through my day,
Yeah.
is just burying it. And then my mentor, he actually just passed away in October. And
Mhm.
so again, cancer, but we had the prognosis that he was potentially going to beat it. And he was only 49. So we really believed he would. So again, it's that same part, you know, bearing that emotional part so that
Mhm.
you don't have to, you just don't feel. If you don't feel, you can't hurt. And
Mhm.
so kind of a little bit of both. You know, is what I went through, is just losing them both like that, and then just trying to bury that emotional piece thinking, "Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm getting through this." And then I met you. And I realized, well, it's not really it's not. I'm not doing that. So, that was part of it. It was just very, very rough.
Yeah, a lot of people will tend to go on autopilot, numb themselves out. Some, even who struggle with addiction, will increase their drinking or self medication or even food. So, tell me some of the things that maybe you tried prior to joining the Words Left Unspoken program. Did you try traditional counseling services, self help? Did you even try mediumship? What kind of combination of self-healing did you try to employ after you pass the numbing part to where you're thinking, okay, I've got to try something?
Mhm. So I did a little bit of everything. Um, I live in Arizona, so I'm literally like 3.5 hours away from Sedona, where there's amazing mediums
Beautiful
and energy.
healing energy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I did both. I went to a therapist
Mhm.
multiple times a week, as well as I went up to Sedona several times to speak with a medium. And they're both powerful pieces.
Mhm.
I got from, my psychologist or my therapist, I was able to gain, you know, different boundaries I had to set for myself and different timelines
Mhm.
that it was okay to be stuck in one, you know, and how to get past to the next one. But so I was able to learn boundaries and really solid steps to getting healthy again, in all areas of life and acceptance, I guess is the best way. And with my medium in Sedona, it was knowing that he was still here, knowing both of them were still
Right.
here.
Right.
The biggest thing with my mentor when he passed away, before he passed away, is he said, my biggest fear is everyone's going to forget about me.
Mm.
So that haunted me.
Yeah.
Every time I got to that next step where I felt, wow, I can enjoy his memories without feeling angry or sobbing. And
Mhm.
then all of a sudden I'd pull me back and go, but I'm forgetting about him, aren't I? That's like, I'm not remembering, I'm forgetting. And so it would stop me in my tracks and then set myself back and then back to the medium in Sedona and then back to my, therapist twice a week. So I was getting great pieces from both,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I couldn't talk to one about the other or, and say, well, my therapist said that this was, I should try this, or my medium connected. You couldn't put the pieces together because they're two very different people. And so I just kept getting stuck. I would try to use both pieces, but I didn't know how to put them together. And so it was spending a lot of money in both
Mhm.
places and getting somewhere, but not getting to where I needed to be 100%.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that because a lot of people will try to do self-help first because they don't want to share the story. They don't want to repeat it. They want to
Mhm.
deal with it silently or individually. And so they'll read books, they'll even do meditation, they'll cry in private. And at some point, you do realize that you need extra help and support, especially if it's your first loss or if it's a primary loss like a child or your spouse or your parent. And so they will reach out to a counselor such as myself, and they will start the healing journey to understand the grieving process, what to
Mhm.
expect through all of those stages and phases. And unfortunately, you will spend a lot of money going to counseling 1 or 2 times a week if you're seeing a psychiatrist because you need medication to offset the heaviness of depression or anxiety. You've got those expenses as well.
Yeah.
And insurance can cover, but it can be taxing if you don't have insurance or if you have to pay out of pocket. And with COVID, right now, especially, you're not really leaving your house to go to a therapist's office. You're having it one-on-one. And so that can be a plus or a minus.
Well, they're
However,
not giving you material either,
well, that's
that you
true.
can
That's true. It's
constantly go back to. You're just kind of
yes.
lost floating.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk therapy is helpful for the mind to help you understand, but there are some missing components of it. And then I love how you did go and seek out a medium to connect with your father and your mentor, because I'll be honest with you, counseling is great and it can provide you with a lot of understanding, knowledge from the academic side. But a
Mhm.
lot of people, I would say almost everybody who loses a loved one, the closure doesn't come until you actually are able to connect with your loved one, hear from them, ask them questions, make sure that they're okay, and really feel them around you. So I love that you went to a medium for that connection across the veil. But you're right. Not, I don't know one program. Actually, I designed my program specifically to combine the two. I don't know one program that out there that does that, because a lot of mediums almost all of them that I know, they don't have the educational background, the counseling background to bring in how to deal with forgiveness, how to deal with anger at yourself or God, how to deal with the anxiety and the depression or the fear of moving on, like you said. They just deliver the message from the spirit realm. And then you have to deal with all the pieces of the mind drama that goes on. And the counseling aspect of it, they can't, and they're not allowed to ethically actively bring in the spiritual component of mediumship into a session. One, they don't know how. They're usually not a gifted medium, but two, ethically, the licensure doesn't allow it. So you're going to get the understanding and the help for the mind through counseling. You're going to get a healing of the heart and closure through mediumship. But if you don't combine the two, you're really going to struggle and have to go through. Over here, I'm going to deal with this compartment. Over here, I'm going to deal with this feeling or this emotion. And so in my program, Words Left Unspoken, I've combined the two. I have years of experience as a licensed counselor and years of experience as a psychic medium. And I've seen more progress and more results from people having one space to go and work through the drama of the mind, not feeling good enough, not feeling guilty because they couldn't have helped their loved one survive, or they didn't do enough, or they didn't see them right before they died. But also addressing, just knowing that they're around and learning how to communicate across the veil. So the program actually marries those two aspects, and some of it is self-paced, some of it is one-on-one with me. And the other component, like you mentioned, is material, videos, meditations, download activities that you can do for homework. So it's a place where you can come and get all of that under one house, if you will. And the comprehensive healing that it brings to the mind, body, and spirit, I've seen is just powerful. So I understand you going to certain avenues of counseling, mediumship, self-healing, but having to do all of those separate, I think, is really what strings the grieving process out longer than it needs to be. So
It's draining, honestly. It's draining to
very
do both,
draining.
and then trying to connect the dots between both, and feeling like, well, I'm crazy because I know I feel them around me.
Mhm.
Well, if I'm not going to my medium in Sedona, I can't talk to my counselor about that because they're not going to understand. So being a part of it is, with you, is being able to connect both pieces, walking me through different sticky points where
Mhm.
I feel like, okay, I'm making progress, but again, I'm forgetting. And you being there to say, no, you're not. And pointing me back into different areas that I need to go back to in the program or look at, but also reminding me of that they're still here. And it's amazing what you do. I mean, I can't, and some of the messages weren't even to me. So,
Mhm.
the fact that you had my dad with you, that had nothing to do with me, but to my family member who is celebrating a very special event. You didn't just help me, you helped someone else, which was my sister, who did not believe in anything. She believes when you're gone, you're gone. And that was it. And that was
And
her.
share with us how that happened. I love this story.
So, and you knew nothing about my sister,
Mhm.
and my sister's very private. So the last thing she would ever do is share her birthday. So it's not like anything you could ever find out. And you just kept hearing my dad, but we were busy doing something that we were working on, where you were kind of just telling him, hold on a minute. And he didn't want to, which
He was
is him.
persistent.
Yeah. And so a couple days later, you're like, okay, I can finally, now is the right time. And when you came through and said, but this isn't, do you have a special date, a death date, a birth date, something big? And you were pretty sure it wasn't even for me. And I just
Mhm.
kind of sat back and was like, oh my God, it's my sister's 50th birthday. Like, you wouldn't have known that. And,
Right.
my sister, her path and journey with my dad and my path and journey were very different because of our beliefs. And so you can imagine if you believe that when you die and you'll never see him again, how
Mhm.
agonizing that must be.
Yeah.
And so I called her to tell her. And in that one moment, you changed her life. She no longer has that mindset of you're gone, you're gone. She now all the little things that keep happening. And when I was telling her this, she heard this big boom and she's like, she lives in Colorado and she's like, it's not raining. What was that? She's like, I think something just went into my roof again. And she's like, Jen, there's no one here and it's not even raining. She's like, oh my gosh.
I
And
have
so
goosebumps.
yeah, and she did. And she's in a path now where she believes now all
Mhm.
these different things that had happened over the years. She wasn't crazy. And pushing them to the back of her mind with her beliefs, she's open to them now. And she's at peace. And that's what she told me is in that 5-minute conversation, I have peace. And she didn't have that. So,
Well,
and
and
that was amazing.
I think that that's one of the most fulfilling aspects of doing what I do, because honestly, the grieving part of it and teaching people about the stages and what to expect the first and second year, that is really heavy energy. That's where the pain sits. It's where the depression sits. And it's like walking through quicksand, and I'm there to walk through that with you hand in hand. But when the messages come from across the veil, and literally I will be not even having a session or doing something, and it's like an SOS message comes through for someone. This. I have texted you, I have
My
called you.
daughter
Yes.
the other day. I mean,
So
that was unbelievable.
yeah, so
Unbelievable.
when the messages come through, I always deliver them because I couldn't withhold them. I mean, with boundaries, I asked them not to visit me in the shower. but but when the messages come through, what makes me so excited is the transformational healing that happens when a message comes to you out of the blue, or something that you just needed to hear. It's like 5 years of therapy rolled into one. It's priceless. You can't write that in a textbook or in a counseling session. But both aspects are needed and powerful, because your loved ones and or a medium aren't here to teach you about the stages of grief, or to pick up the pieces for you when things fall apart. That's your job, and the people who are supporting you, to help you through that. But when those messages come through, it's like it can make your whole day better, even your life better, like you mentioned, with your sister. And
Mhm.
so that's my favorite part of doing what I do. I love helping people through the counseling aspect of it, but I love just giving them the best piece of cake ever through a message, that just can make their
You
day.
change lives. I mean, even people that join that are like my sister, that are teeter-tottering, or maybe they don't believe, but
Mhm.
something brought them to you, and you changed their lives in a way to where when they're done with the program, they no longer have to think they're crazy because
Mhm.
it really is them. And so it
Well, and
helps.
it does help, and I want them to realize that the relationship physically ends with your loved one when they pass, but spiritually, mentally, emotionally, they're still right there by your
Mhm.
side. They're involved in birthdays and job promotions, even though they passed even prior to that. They're still part of your daily world, and they know what goes on, and they want to see you smile again and move forward. And a lot of times, just knowing that and just hearing, oh my gosh, he knew that I got that job promotion, well, he died before that. It just lets you know that even though you can't see them, they're still around. And I think that's important. My whole goal in developing this program is really to help people realize that life does not end just when someone you love dies. It feels like it. It feels like
Right.
it will last forever, but that's not necessarily a truth, okay? But you do have to help yourself. You have to be willing to invest in yourself financially, spiritually, emotionally. I mean, I work with so many people who are hurting and they don't feel worthy to use savings or any kind of money or receive a gift to sign up for a program like this. I had a lady just the other day that said, I really want it, but I don't know if I am worthy to spend this much money on me. And it really just crushed me, to have to not heal because you don't feel worthy or you don't know where you can get the resources. And this is one thing I said to her, and I say this to everybody because it's so true. And ask yourself this too. If your daughter, your son, your best friend was going through what you're going through, and they or you knew something that would help them, what would you say to them? Would you say that they're worth the investment? Would you encourage them to follow through? Because grief not only paralyzes you emotionally, it affects your job. You get depressed, you can't work. It affects your health. You get where you can't eat, you can't sleep. It affects your relationships where you just, move away from everybody that cares about you.
Yeah.
It affects every aspect of your life. So this a financial investment like joining the program is not something that just may affect your pocketbook. It's going to tenfold support you and advance you through everything. And that's what you want to think about. So if you were to say that to your best friend and help them realize that they are worthy of it, because it's a ripple effect. When you feel better, you help other people feel better. You can give wisdom, in situations that maybe before you couldn't because you were broken. So,
Mhm.
let's talk a little bit about that, because I know that the program is a financial investment, and you and I have talked about that too. What would you have to say to someone who is struggling in that area and who is either scared to invest financially to help themselves, or just can't wouldn't know where to pull from? What would you say to them to encourage them?
So here's the thing that with if not making this financial decision and leaning in and doing the work and getting healthy again, financially it's going to hurt you further down the road because it will affect your job. It could
Hmm.
cost you your job. My heart just wasn't in it anymore. I didn't want to work. I didn't, I'd
Hmm.
be there, but it was going through the motions.
Right.
I no longer had any of that. You know, I didn't have any of the heart anymore, and everyone saw it. So
Yeah.
financially, if you don't invest now, it's going to affect you further. Um, and again, your relationships that will start hurting them because you push everyone away. Your walls, one, two, three, four are up.
Hmm.
Um, and it's not just with your significant other, it's with whoever is in your life, your children. You don't have drive to do anything anymore.
Hmm.
So it's not just about the financial, but it's about all the pieces to it, because the ripple effect is um is deafening. That's the best word. It can basically just leave you by yourself. And that's so it's your program. It's just not about all of those pieces, but it's wanting to lean in and wanting to get healthy and wanting to make the difference and believing in yourself that it's number one, you are worthy, but number two, yes, you can heal. A lot of people, that I've met, that's not just the question is, can I, is it about investing in myself? It's about, is it, can I truly even heal from this? They get that
Hmm.
confused with, I'll never get over them. No, you're going to learn to live in a different light with
Hmm.
the way it is now, but you're going to move through in a much healthier, better way that they'd want for you. And you teach us that. You teach us
Right.
how to do that in a way where we're not forgetting, we're not getting over. It's a different way of life, but it's just as healthy and productive. And they're with us each step of the way. So it's all of that financially. And if your family and friends, trust me, they know you're suffering. They know
Hmm.
you're
They do.
going through it. And chances are they've probably tried to help, but either you've blocked that out, you tell them, like I did, I was wonderful at saying, I'm fine. Like, don't worry about me. I'm good. And
Hmm.
maybe they believed me, maybe they didn't. but they knew that no matter how hard I pushed, I had to be ready. So that's part of it. You offer so much on both ends, but you've got to be ready to want to do this and understand you're going to come out so much healthier in every aspect of the way. So the financial piece, I know you're going to say to, when you watch this, but it's money. It's my, well, it's not, it's healing, it's health, it's getting better. So that's very important. And people around you, they will help if you can't.
Yeah, peace of mind, comfort, closure, all of that
Mhm.
is priceless, and it's
It
needed for
is.
you to continue. I mean, you're still here for a reason. You still have work to do, and you can't do it being broken. Your loved ones don't want that for you.
Mhm.
They probably are working around the clock on the other side of the veil to get you to a program like this or connected with the people that, can support you. So take that into consideration too.
You had
Um,
my grandma come through that's been gone since I was 10,
I was
10, and
doing
she's
my
still the
own
same.
my
Yeah.
own meditation, and Italian grandma comes through and has a message for Jen, and it just cracked me up because I'm Italian, and so I know how they are. And I love that aspect of it because, like I said earlier, grieving is so hard, but when you have messages that come through that make you laugh, or go, oh my God, that was so her,
Mhm.
it just lightens it up. And you need to be lightened up when you go through heaviness like a loss, because there's so much of that, you
And
need
like
that
you said,
balance.
they could have been gone before the job promotion. She was gone when I was 10. And to
Yes.
know she sees who I am today and where I am, it's amazing. And so, like I said, it's those pieces along with the rest of the program. Um, I can't explain it. I can say that, and you have to go through it to go through the program to understand what I'm saying, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, I can think about my dad, I can think about Stephen, I can think about all of that, and I'm not wanting to hide it. I can smile and laugh and go, "Oh,
Mhm.
Stephen," or "Oh, dad," without just saying, "I don't want to think about it." I don't want to think about you right now. Just go away for now. I want to work, or I want to do this. I can sit back and take that moment and just laugh and go, oh,
Mhm.
or smile and go, God, that was a great time. And I'm not scared of thinking about that and wanting to push it away or close up or just go hide in my room and cry. I can just laugh. And my kids are like, what are you laughing about? Oh my God, I was thinking about this time with Steven or with grandpa. And it's I can enjoy my life again, enjoy their memory
Well,
without
yeah, I
feeling.
mean, you make a good point because so many people may have had a bad experience in the end, and that's what they remember their loved one as. I had a lady just the other day that said, I walked in and found my husband dead, and that's all I remember. That's the last picture, and they do not want you to remember that as the last picture. They want you to remember the beautiful moments, because and it raises your vibration and it helps you smile again. That's how they want to be remembered, and they come through and say that in readings all the time. And the other thing too is, if you're scared to have those memories because you feel it's not honoring the loss, if you're scared to be happy or smile again because you feel it's depicted in the amount of grieving or how much you loved them, it's such a challenging mindset to have, because they want nothing more than to help and love you from across the veil and help you move forward. But if you're stuck in the mindset of, if I move forward or be happy or smile, then that must mean that I didn't love them enough, or I, didn't care to grieve enough. And that is so not true. And it can ruin every day for you moving forward. And until you get to a point where you can realize that even in loss, there can be beautiful moments, you're going to
Mhm.
be paralyzed by depression and anxiety. You're going to be
Exactly.
sad. You're going to be stuck.
Well, and that was part of it too. When my dad passed away, his biggest thing was I don't want a funeral. I don't want any of that. My dad was very, I mean, church oriented. He was Lutheran. Um, and he's like, I want to have my pastor here in a service here when I'm still alive. I want to all be together that way. But when I go, I do not want tears. I don't want sadness. I don't want that about me. And so when he passed away, and for a long time, I just wouldn't discuss it because it was it was just him. Just if he could have planned it, he would have planned it exactly like this. But it was embarrassing, and I didn't want people to think, "Oh my gosh, were you even sad when he passed away? Did you even
Right. You
care?
didn't care. You didn't, you know,
Like, what
you
kind
weren't
of daughter are
human.
you?"
Right.
Yeah. And so when he passed away, we're all surrounding him, and it was a joke at my mom's expense, which he loved. He his dry sense of humor carried to me. And so, it was something I had said, and my mom's like, "Oh my gosh." And everyone in the room, we just started cracking up. And she's like, "Jennifer." And we're all laughing. And then all of a sudden you hear this, and we look, and he's gone. So when he left this world, it was full of laughter. It was
Mm,
all his loved ones surrounding him. And he left this world not hearing us all sobbing and begging him not
mhm,
to go, but hearing us full of happiness and laughter. And so for a long time, I thought that was not okay to share
mm,
because it was not what people would look at and say, they'd make me feel bad. And then I'd feel even more devastated. And
mhm,
so I didn't share. I just held it back. But again, you know, sharing these things and being taught that it's okay from you, that
mhm.
this is part of the journey, and this is what they don't want you being like this.
They really
It
don't.
it's freeing. I guess that's another word to explain your program. I'm free. I'm free of those feelings, and being able to shout from, the treetops, all the different experiences with my dad. Um, so I don't have to feel sad or, embarrassed, or, I can, because that's who he was, you know what I mean? And
Mhm,
I can share those things again. So it's all different. I guess you peel back the layers like an onion.
mhm.
That's what you do. You peel back the layers with your mediumship as well as counseling to get to that place that we've really buried and free it so that we can move forward.
Well, and what I love about it is just offering an opportunity to kind of do it as you need it,
Hmm.
self-paced. If you
Yeah.
need additional sessions to process something that's going on, we jump on a phone call and do that. If you're needing to connect with your loved one to answer some questions or just feel them, we jump on a call and do that. And it's not just me doing that for you. I teach you in this program how to connect with them, how to learn the secret language of the spiritual realm, how to prepare your mind and your body to receive and give messages, because honestly, I don't want to always be your go-to. I want to empower you to know that
Mhm.
every day they're around you. You can get messages from them. You can send messages to them. I want you to understand your mind and how that works, the grieving stages and the roller coaster of a ride it is. And I'm here to support you every step of the way. But I'm also here to empower you, for you to realize that yes, you're going through a hard time, but you know what? You're going to survive it. One thing constant is life and death, and you don't have to be a victim to what happened. You will feel broken for a while, but it doesn't have to last forever. And so a lot of people just don't know how to move through the grieving process. They don't know how to deal with loss. They certainly don't learn in Sunday school that you should be talking to your loved ones across the veil, but it's
Yeah.
possible. It's needed. It happens all the time. And so if you're open and if you're willing to help yourself, to whatever that looks like, whatever extent, I know that this program, I've seen it happen. It can heal your heart. It can address the issues of the mind. It can bring your sanity back. It can help you breathe again. You've experienced that. And so I want to touch real quick on your mindset. So
Sure.
can you explain your mindset um, before going into the program, during the program, and after the program, and how giving yourself the time and loving yourself enough to help you has changed for you after going through that?
Sure. So before it was kind of like I touched on earlier. I was just numb. So I would just go, I would bury as much as I could. And whenever I started feeling like I wanted to talk about them or think about them, I just bury it again. And I'm talking TV shows we watched together. I'm talking anything. I just push it so that I could get through my day. So it was almost like just drifting through my day, getting accomplished what I needed to get accomplished with the least amount of anything from me, least amount of emotion or
Mhm,
feeling. And that's everything. That's my job, being a
mhm.
parent. Just kind of going through the motions
Silently
just to wake up the
suffering.
next day and do it
Yeah.
again. Hmm. Yep. Yeah. And so that's what I did because in my eyes, I thought if people knew how sad I was, maybe they thought I wouldn't be able to do my job as well as efficiently. So I get fired. My children would worry about me and then it would pass on to them. What I didn't realize is that my silent suffering, everyone already knew. They knew how sad I
Mhm,
was because they knew who I was before that, before I lost both of these people. So, while I'm silently suffering, my kids are because they want to tell me, what's wrong, mom? What can we do?
mhm,
But they
mhm,
don't want to say anything. So now they're worried about me quietly. My clients, they know me. They know my personality and just recently within, like I said, in October, it just, even before then, because we knew it was going to go soon,
mhm.
it just changed. And so um it that's what I was doing before the program, was just getting through the day however I could get through the day without trying to think about them. And like I said, I'm a very spiritual person, so I did have signs that they were with me and they were by me and pushing at me, and I would just ignore them. I just ignore them or just try to pretend like I couldn't feel it because I feeling and thinking about it makes it real, and I didn't want it to be real yet.
Yeah, how do you keep it
'Cause then
together, right? If
yeah,
you have to
yeah,
go through the ugly part of it,
yeah,
how do you keep it
and I mean, there
together?
were times that you knew about certain things before you knew. Like, I didn't
Mhm,
tell you anything, and you just knew. And so it was, them, I think, going to you saying, Sean, you need to push because she's being stubborn again. And so, going through the program, it was again, your therapy portion, making sure that I'm going through these steps. I have the material that I can go back to, that I understand. But then I know that they were with you, pushing at you to push
mhm,
at me and say, hey, you know, what's going on? You're quiet again. I know something's wrong. And being able to say, they're they're here and this is what's happening. I'm going, oh. So I got both. And then as we went through everything, you gave me the I guess enlighten me and the power back, on it's okay to go through these grieving processes. It's okay, to do this day by day in little pieces. And some days I'm
mhm,
gonna go back, but as long as I have this material that you've given me, I can set up appointments with you. I can go forward even more. So you've empowered me to get my life back, and show me it's okay to mourn them, but I can't bottle it up. I can't just
right.
go through my day as if they're not they're not gone. So
Well,
that's
right,
what you
because
do.
they spend so much time trying to get you help when really they just want to enjoy life with you from the other
Yep.
side. And once that can break for you, you actually can feel them share the great experiences moving forward. And it's as if they haven't left. There's a different relationship and language going on, but they're right by your side and you can feel that. And so I really want to encourage anybody who is struggling with loss to consider a program like this. Again, it's called Words Left Unspoken, Healing the Heart Through Understanding, Compassion, and Love. It brings the aspects of my years of experience in counseling, marries it with my gifts as an intuitive medium, and A lot of it, the online portion of it, is self-paced. I
Mhm.
provide Q&A Zoom calls where we can jump on, you can ask questions. We have a wonderful support and community focused group where other individuals are experiencing and going through really similar situations. So I've put a lot of thought and effort into making this a comprehensive program, and I'd like for you to just feel free to share any closing thoughts, any encouraging
Sure.
words for people that are considering it, are struggling with it, don't feel worthy to join something like this. What would you have to say for those people before we end?
So what's great about Sean's program is it is self-paced, and I have four daughters. So and I have a business of my own, so I'm very busy.
Mhm.
So being able to carve out time to do this and lean in and do the work at my pace and not feeling pushed by anybody um, has been wonderful. I've been able again to schedule my my healing now. I have something, you know, that's that's there for me. I don't have to pick up the phone and try to get into a meeting with my counselor or drive 4 hours to a medium. I have everything in front of me. So I can schedule my day around my healing. My healing comes first now. And so it's wonderful to have that and be able to go back maybe to lesson 1. Maybe I'm on lesson 5 and I need to go back to lesson 1
Right,
again.
right.
How am I going to press rewind with my counselor? We've already been over that. So I
So
can go
true.
back to that. And then I can always, reach out to Sean and say, okay, I had to go back to this place. I need, can you help me with one piece of it? And you're there. Um, and you're right. I have a whole community that I can go to as well for support. So anyone that thinks that, well, I'm busy. I own my own company. I'm a, I am a busy corporate person or entrepreneur or whatever. I don't have time. It allows you to set your own time and get through it, which is wonderful. So you do have time and you learn to get into a routine where your health and your happiness and knowing that they're around you becomes important.
A
So
priority.
yeah, it does. um, and financially, I'm not kidding you. If I needed to, I would have looked anywhere for the finances to put this together, to be a part of this, because um, going through that process every day was like Groundhog's Day, was
Mm.
getting draining for not just myself, for everyone around me. And even though they were trying to be a cheerleader, I was wearing them down too. So if it's something that you're questioning, financially, think about it. If you're doing counseling, how much is that costing? For me, it was close to $600-700 a week. My medium and Sedona, not including getting there and paying for that, that could easily be 1 hour session for $600, and then trying to figure out how to connect the two. I didn't have the mindset for that at that point. I was
Right.
already I couldn't. So financially, if that's an issue, I promise you, you're gonna come out of it having such a better understanding. You're gonna have peace. Um, you're going to know it's okay um, to get through the stages of grief in the order that you need to get through them, but getting through them,
Mhm.
that you're gonna be okay. This is not gonna be your new normal. It's
Right.
just not. Um, and that they're with you all the time. And you might already know that, but you're questioning it because of everything else that's sitting on top of you. Um, so it's something, like I said, I would have, if I didn't have the financial pieces for it, I would have found them, because it makes that much of a difference. And having both components together, there isn't anything else out there. You can continue to do it separately and pray to God you can figure out how to connect the dots and get
Mhm.
there, or jump in a program that has both elements right there in front of you, and tangible, and you know years of, like you said, your work put together so that we can go through it step by step. We can log in and look and go back and forth
Mhm.
and set our day around it, instead of trying to figure out how to contact our medium or how to contact our
Right.
counselor. So there's so many different, if I could sit here all day and tell everyone, all the positives on why you should do it. Um, so it's either if you feel like this is going to be your forever, it's not, but you
Mhm.
have to be willing to understand that it's not going to be, and you're ready to put in the work. Because again, you'll give us the tools and you're there for us, but we also have to do the work. If you can't do the work, it's not going to change. But you've made my life so much easier. And there are days you've made my
Mhm.
days that are hard. I can get through them now without having to just bury.
Well, and I love the relationship that we have formed in our work together.
Mhm.
I'm very old school. I like to I like to do everything old school. And I like to create relationships and friendships in the work that I do and the healing that I do. So it makes me happy to see you get excited and getting your own signs, even though you might take a little dip, you're a lot more further than you were prior to, of course, when the situation happens. So it
Right.
shows that there's hope there, that you can smile again, that
Mhm.
you have support that you need. And it's because you chose to help yourself. So
Exactly.
well, I want to thank you again so much, Jen, for sharing with others your experience of the loss that you've had, your experience of what you did to help yourself, your experience in the program, and that there is light on the other side of the tunnel, and that's the most important thing for your well-being. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, we'll end here, and you have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye,
And
Sean.
yes, thank you. Bye bye.
You're welcome.